Hello, everybody. It is 5 o'clock and it's already above 200 of you here. So let's start, okay? This is Veronica. I will be hosting today, and we also have Zsolt here. Zsolt and I are two of the product owners at memoQ. Currently, we already have some other people, but these features are our babies, as I usually say, so we will be presenting them. Please note that the whole webinar is recorded. Yeah, first of all, we'll have a presentation of roughly 30 minutes, and then we'll still have 10-15 minutes for questions and Q&A. And as for those questions that we don't have time to answer during the webinar, we will collect them and provide answers to them. So please understand that we may not have time for everything. So this is the product owner's guide to memoQ 9.3. And these are the contents. This is the order we are going to go in. So for the first order of business, let me give it over to Zsolt.
Okay, so the first topic that I want to talk about is my tasks in memoQ Web. Next slide, please. As many of you are familiar with the new memoQ Web design, project managers have already had a chance to enjoy the brand new design of the project manager interface, and they, based on the feedback, they really like it. So now we are moving towards the translation interface. And the first step in that direction before we get to the web trans editor is this My Tasks page. This is basically the opening page for any translator who logs into memoQ Web. This is what they see immediately. It's a list of their tasks awaiting them. Most of them are actually online projects listed under ongoing tasks, but sometimes, as you can see on this screenshot, sometimes you will see first accept offers if the project managers chooses to offer a translation job up for grab for the translators. So let's take a closer look at this page and what's in it. So as you can see, this is really follows the visuals introduced with the memoQ Web, the new memoQ Web. And what we wanted to do was, in addition to this clean design, material design, with lots of white space, is to emphasize urgent tasks. So the colors, especially the red, as well as the orange there, immediately emphasize that there's something that requires your attention and you need to accept, for instance, the first accept assignment or reject it if you want to. Under my ongoing tasks, then you will see that the very first project is open, and the very first line says overdue by 1 day, which emphasizes the immediate urgency for the translator to act on that task. So basically, everything that's urgent, everything that's important is listed on top. So by default, the tasks are grouped by projects, and the project that has the most urgent action on the translator's part is listed first, and as you can see, the respond by and the deadline columns show the urgency of that specific task. One other thing that you may recognize is compared to the so-called legacy My Tasks page is that we no longer list delivered tasks here. Based on our research, we moved the delivered tasks to another tab. So if up in the top left corner you switch over from ongoing to delivered, then you will have only the delivered tasks listed. But that's mostly for your reference, and what is needed whenever you need immediate action, that's listed under the ongoing tasks. So basically, what I wanted to highlight here is that we introduced this new design to provide translators with all the necessary key information at a glance. Next slide, please. In addition to the new UI, we invested heavily into UX research, and some of the things I want to highlight is that you have filter options where you can filter by name and status. So these are actually and conditions. You can list, say, all the projects starting with A, and then from them you can narrow down the filter only to those in progress or something like that. By default, all the statuses are shown in the list. You can also sort by name or deadline, as you can see at the bottom. You can see the little arrow next to name, and if you click the deadline, then you can also arrange your projects by deadline, meaning that by default the most urgent project will be listed immediately. As you could see on the previous page, the first
Excuse
and
me,
most...
George.
Yes?
Sorry, I'm getting notes that people can't see. Is it a widespread problem?
I can see you. I don't know if...
Okay, then maybe it's just a couple of the participants. Okay, then please go ahead. Sorry.
Okay, so just to finish up this page, you can expand and collapse any number of projects. By default, we list the most urgent project with the tasks in it, but you can open up, that is to expand any project that you want on the page. You can even determine how many projects to list on a single page, or you can collapse all of them so that you will see the list in full. On the right side, you can see that we have a customized view panel. On this panel, similarly to the PM interface, you have the option to select certain radio buttons and checkboxes. And more importantly, you can even select columns that you want to see on the screen. You can switch off certain columns. The name is mandatory, so it will be listed there. But you can switch off the rest, and you can even order them in any order you wish. So as you can see, there are those 4 arrow icons on the right, which will help you move around these little columns. So everything is really just for the purpose of full control for the user. So that's what we wanted to do here. I think that's about my task.
Okay. So next order of business is, sorry, I'm just taking notes in the meantime. Term-based import in memoQ web. So as you might have noticed, we switched to the strategy of releasing frequent small changes instead of collecting everything in huge releases. So as for term-based import, term-based import in memoQ web was of course already possible. What was missing was importing Excel files because so far you could only import CSV files. So we introduced that from now on you can import Excel files as well. And while we were working on that, we also realized that the preview being shifted to the right column was not a good idea. So we went with a full width preview, which you can see at the bottom. And there you can preview a lot of how your current settings would make it if you imported the file in the way that it is set up at that moment. And you can also interact with that preview. If you click on the blue text showing how that column is being imported, then you can change that thing and it will instantly change, and you will see it in the preview at once as well. These are mostly UX changes, but I believe they can make your lives a lot easier. So this is what happened around term-based import. In the next version, you will probably see a little more about CSV import as well. And next thing is working together, or interoperability. So most of the changes this time were around SDL files, basically SDL XLIF files. And they are changing as well. So we are trying to catch up and be as similar as possible. So there was the issue of SDL's language list being different from ours. From now on, memoQ tries to figure out what language code means and imports it into that memoQ language. There is also the way Trados displays tags was sometimes different from the way we do it. Now we try to replicate what you see in Trados Studio. And there was also an issue with when files come to you unprepared, or as the old way of saying it was unsegmented in the TTX days. So those files we didn't grab the track changes markup from them so far, but from now on we do. And we also sped up the client here and there. I hope you will see it, even though it will mostly make a big difference for people who have a bunch of translation memories. And this is usual.
All right. So once again, we are expanding our MT offering. Machine translation, as you were able to see over the past year or so, has expanded exponentially in memoQ, and there's lots more to come. This time we added Amazon MT as one of our public plugins in memoQ. So if you open any of the machine translation settings now in memoQ 9.3, at the top of the list of services, you will now see Amazon Translate. If you open it up for edit, then you will see some of the usual stuff like access key and secret access key that you can obtain from Amazon. Then comes the region, and this is purely, as Amazon says, this is purely to reduce latency. So if you check the Amazon website, you will see your corresponding or recommended corresponding region, and that's probably the best idea to select. And below that, you will see something new, terminology. Now, some of you may already be familiar with custom neural machine translation models, and we even demoed the Microsoft MT plugin, and the latest version actually offers custom NMT solution. But for that, you actually need to subscribe to a special service, so you need to pay an extra fee and create your own model so that you can use any kind of terminology there. Amazon, however, does not need a specific model to use. You can just simply upload a specific, well, Amazon actually tells you in what specific order and format you need to upload a CSV or a TMX file, a terminology file. And if you got everything all right, you identify the languages and also use the casing properly. There's like a specific page on the Amazon Translate website. Then you will be able to import your basically your glossary or terminology list. And what the Amazon MT engine will do is that before it sends back to you the translation, it will check the translation or the source actually against your terminology list. And if there's a match, then that specific term will be replaced to whatever you uploaded in the list. So that might actually come handy even for freelance translators who normally do not own custom NMT solutions with any of the MT service providers. Another MT development in memoQ 9.3 is that we tweaked a little bit the Google MT and the Microsoft MT plugins. Many of our users reported that DeepL seemed to be giving them better translations, probably because DeepL was using the XML format and sending the requests to the service. So we played around with it, and instead of actually switching over to XML straight, we actually are now offering the option for the user to determine whether to send the MT request to the service in HTML or XML format. And the reason for this is that our research was inconclusive in certain types of translation text and certain language combinations. HTML seemed to work better. In some others, XML worked better. So we decided to give the choice to the user. So play around with it, and if you can give us some feedback, we'll be more than happy to listen to you and see how it works out. So hopefully this will help you get not only better translations, but also you will see that these two services, Google and Microsoft MT, will produce better translations with better tag handling as well. That's it for MT. And the next one is batch operations with resources. This has been one thing that we've heard so many times, and it was just, one of those big things we wanted to get around, but it's really a big task. So now we are approaching it piece by piece. In memoQ 9.3, we are focusing on the most immediate need of our users. Based on our interviews, both project managers and freelancers reported that what they would love to have first is to be able to add and remove multiple TMs and TBs in projects. So this is exactly what we did. We are trying to fix those immediate pain points. As you can see on the upper picture, you can select multiple translation memories in the project. And you can either use the ribbon icon or you can use the context menu and select use in project. And immediately those resources will be added to the project. Obviously, we are doing some permission checks, and also there are some things that that memoQ will check in the background. So you will see some dialogues if you have some mixed cases, for instance. But basically what it means is that you can just use Control and click or Control Shift, and then select multiple resources, translation memories or turn bases, and you can add them to the project. The same way you can remove multiple TMs or turn bases from a project, basically using the other command remove from project, as you would normally do with a single resource. So that's what's new in 9.3. And one more, but before we go there, I wanted to just reiterate that there's much more to come. In the upcoming releases, we are going to be implementing delete, export, and import functionality. Delete, obviously, batch delete with specific group level permissions to make sure that only those resources are deleted that you really meant to, and only those people can delete that the administrator users give access to. And the delete option will also offer the users the option of exporting those TMs or TBs or live docs before deleting them. So export and delete is also combined. We are also providing the simple export of multiple TMs, TBs, and live docs. We will do that in the upcoming release. And the import option is going to include multiple TM export files imported into one new or one existing TM or several new existing TMs. And one big development that's going on is to provide our users with advanced filtering and sorting options, both on the project level and, more importantly, in the resource console, with additional parameters introduced for these resources so that you can filter out the ones that you want to delete or export and so on. So this is just kind of like a teaser for the upcoming release in June. Next slide, please. But returning to 9.3, one welcome addition I believe project managers will appreciate is that now you can actually, in a multilingual project, you can open up a project's translation memories panel in the all languages view, as you can see on the left. And pretty much you can just add any of these translation memories to the project. And memoQ will automatically assign these translation memories to the right language pairs. So as you can see on the picture on the left, I selected, this is a project where the source language is English and the target languages are German and Hungarian. And on the right, at the top, you can see that if I switch the target language from all languages to German, I will see that that only the German, the English to German TM is listed, and the other one is listed if I switch to Hungarian. This feature will be specifically benefit project managers working in, say, localization projects with 20 plus or even more languages, where adding the translation memories per language normally took up a lot of time. This one hopefully will speed it up quite a bit. So that's it for batch operations.
That's it. So that's it. I answered some of the questions, and I would like to give George some time to read through the remaining ones, because they are mostly MT related, and he's the one who knows about MT. Mm-hmm. What I can answer in the meantime is a question from Kathy, whether there will be a smoother way to create an export package for SDL. I'm not exactly sure what you mean. You cannot create an export package from scratch, an SDL export package, because only SDL software can do that. So if you do have a Trader Studio, then you can import memoQ files into that and create an export package from that. I don't know if that's what you meant. George, do you think you can start? Sure. And then I will check whether there are further ones that I can answer.
Yeah. Okay, is terminology import also possible for the DeepHelp plugin? Not that I know of. We are constantly in talk with them. Terminology is normally associated with custom NMT models. So the Amazon is new in this respect, that you no longer need to purchase a subscription for the NMT custom model, which can be quite pricey. The second question is there any MT option available to integrate free of charge? If you check the biggest websites, Microsoft, for instance, offers you some free, quite a bit of free characters per month, and only above that free quota you are required to pay. So there's like a free option. You obviously need to do some research, but I've heard from translators at our memoQ Fest that they use a free Microsoft option for MT translation. Do you have to upload your own terminology to Amazon? Will they have access to it? The terminology that you upload can be from anywhere, but obviously you need to make sure that you're authorized to share it or upload it to any place else, aside from where you took it from. You can upload your own, you can upload some other stuff. Basically, it's like a glossary that you can upload there. As far as what happens to it, will they have access to it? I don't think that GDPR plays a big role in here. These are normally, I mean, you can even delete these files. So once you uploaded them and no longer need, you can just delete it. I'm sure that Amazon has some sort of disclaimer on this. So you might want to check that if you're concerned about that. But for the most part, I would not be. This is something different than a translation memory. Okay, in order to use Google or Microsoft, I need to anonymize first. Will there be some sort of assistance for anonymization? I guess Jean-Pierre is asking about before we actually send off the request, we need to anonymize the source segment. I would say no at this point, but what we normally say is that the source text could actually be anonymized and then kind of reused in another project to enter the missing information. So no, in the empty workflow, we don't have anonymization at this point. Does the selection of multiple TMTB also work in the project wizard? It's in the project wizard, yes, it's supposed to work in the project wizard, yeah. Mickey, when would you use XML versus HTML tag handling in Microsoft Google MT plugin? What is the main trigger? Can memoQ guess the right setting based on the content? No, by default, we offer HTML as we used before. Simply, we couldn't really put our fingers on when XML or HTML would be more beneficial. We did some in-house testing and looked at the various translations of these two MT providers using XML or HTML. And like I said, the research was inconclusive. So that's why we leave it up to the user. Jeremy, are there any plans to support weighted word counts in the new memoQ?
In the new memoQ web, as for, yeah, the new memoQ web is really, you are shaping the new memoQ web. I mean the clients. So at the moment we are, what we are doing is we are really trying to listen and push forward the features that people are asking for. So it really depends on which interface you mean and anything like that. Please bombard us with feature requests. And yes, weighted word counts are better. Then again, they are a lot more complicated because it is not even obvious that you are using the same weight towards your clients than towards your translators and stuff like that. But it is on the list.
Okay, the next question is Dragon Dictate. No, we haven't tested it. Actually, we have several issues with Dragon products. Dragon, naturally speaking, has given us some headache, and we've contacted them and tried to come up with a solution as far as the widening gap between the newer versions of Dragon and memoQ, but we haven't been able to establish a good cooperation. So that's why we introduced, among other things, Hey memoQ, which is our dictation product. All right. Will there be the possibility to batch delete multiple TMs, TBs in the resource manager as well? Yes, the resource console, yes. So whenever I talked about the more to come things, those were valid not only for the project view, but also the resource console view. And this is why we are doing actually a mini revamp on the resource console. We are introducing new parameters, new properties to resources, like last used and last modified, and the number of entries and whether it's being used in a project, to allow our users, whether they are project managers or freelancers, to clean up their TMs, TBs, and live docs, because we are aware that that simply because of the existing solution, it's not that easy to keep track of whether you need specific TMs or not. Hopefully, what's coming up in the next release will give you all this option. All right. All right, I'm completely new to memoQ. This is a great tool. How may I receive training in memoQ, starting with the basics? All right, it's an anonymous attendee, so we don't know where he or she is from. We have regular memoQ training sessions in Hungary as well as abroad. I would recommend you check our website, and we have some contact information there. Any plans to enable Google custom NT engines directly? Yes. It's on the roadmap, and I'm pretty sure that we are going to do it sooner or later, Sting. So thanks for the question. Any updates on automatically adding light resources via templates? Oh, okay. That's
it's not on the immediate roadmap for sure. So this is again feature requests. Please send them to support, and we are working on the idea portal being opened to all of our users. We are doing that in a cautious way, but soon you will be able to post your feature requests or ideas and see those of others as well. Yeah. As for the SDL issue of Kathy, yes, it appears this is more like error messages. Please send them to support as well. Yeah, as for e-learnings, I don't know about that. That's something I really don't know. And let me skip one and leave that to Zsolt and answer Anna-Lena. We'll still use server 919. Can we use 9.3 clients with the server? Yes, you can. From 9 for sure. Project managers don't have to be on the same version as the server is. So you can, there is cross compatibility like that. There is no cross compatibility between 8 dot something and 9 dot something for project managers. For translators, you absolutely can work as far back as you can see. But you are happy to do so, Anna-Lena. You are free to do so. Okay, Zsolt, back to you.
Okay, let's see. It said that I didn't quite get the option to send requests to Google and Microsoft as HTML or XML to enable better tag handling. Is it a request for better tag recognizing? It's the format that you use to send your request to the MT service determines to a large extent what you will get back from the service. So yes, it is one purpose is to enable you to get better tag recognition, but also it also influences the quality of the text, because very often tags are interpreted differently when you send them in HTML or XML, and the service may tend to translate the segment, the part of the segment before a tag and after a tag differently, depending on the format that you use. So it's once again, it's for better tag recognition as well as for better translation quality. Thanks to Birgit Hoffman for the link to the Amazon Translate website. So yes, you are safe as far as your updated terminology file. All right, will you bring back the filter option in the dashboard to show only most recent used projects, please? You know, on the dashboard, you have the option to use the last accessed column, and that's what I use mostly. So I think we removed that option because there was a conflict between most recent and an active projects or something like that, the 30-day period or something. So no plans to bring it back. It was a conscious decision. The next one is Vebes.
Oh yeah, so thank you, Patrick, for the question. As for the health situation, actually we are a very distributed company, so a lot of our work has always been online. So we have people all around the world. So actually not being in the same room is not that different for a lot of people. The Budapest office and the Gyula office being the big ones now, they are empty now. So everybody's doing home office, not just the people who live in Bonn or Toronto or anywhere else. Currently we are okay. Thank you for the question. For us, for example, having the kids at home makes home office a little more difficult, but that's how it is. And we talk a lot, and we started using the webcams while we talk, just to see each other and the bread other people baked and stuff like that. Thanks.
Maybe you can answer the next one.
Yeah, the next one, the original question was about why don't we make separate webinars for translators and PMs? And we were thinking a lot about that, but my experience is that there is no clear-cut border between the features that PMs care about and translators care about, because freelancer translators are often in practice project managers as well. They manage their own projects. And also classic project managers, even even ones working at huge LSPs, they also care about, well, they definitely care about the way their translators are working, because they want to make their life as easy as possible. And they also have to fiddle around in the translation editor a lot. So we just cannot separate the features. We tried it. As for the comment on, we didn't state it clearly enough which application we are talking about. Okay, noted. We will be better about that. Thank you.
Okay, which one is the next one?
Discount code available at the moment? Not that I know of.
Yeah, but once again, we have contact information on our website, and feel free to contact our sales department, and I'm sure that they will notify you whenever there's a discount available.
Yeah. For multilingual projects, any plans to import the target languages from a CSV or text file instead of selecting them one at a time? If you work a lot with multilingual projects, I would warmly recommend setting up a template containing them. If even it is easier to delete a couple of languages from a 20 language project and make it 18 language than the other way around. If you don't set up anything else in the template but the target languages, it will be a lot easier at once. And also, we still have time, a little. Okay, I'll take the next two. Import with options, option for project templates. If you mean importing the files themselves with predefined filter configurations, that is absolutely available. Maybe it is a little hidden. But please look around in the templates, in the settings area of templates. As far as I remember, it's under the language independent options. And there you can set up filter configs to be used with what is it, with files of, for example, you can set up a given filter for all docx files, or for all docx files whose name contains something. And maybe, or it is possible that this was about the same thing Anna-Lena is asking about, any news about import of packages with templates. This is, I'm laughing because this is one of my favorite ones that I would really love to do. It is always just below the limit. So if anybody would like to have this feature, please bombard your account managers with it, okay? Because it is currently yeah, on the verge. But now I'm really hoping it will come next year. And yes, the webinar will be available online later. And I think we should finish now.
Yeah, so we thank you all for your patience and questions. The remaining questions, we'll take a look at them, and how can we answer them, Veronica, if we can?
I don't know, but Damian told me we will answer them somehow. So
okay.
I'm sure he has a solution for that. Well, thank you. Thanks a lot for your participation. I think this was a record, but I'm not completely sure about that. Thank you, and see you in about 3 months.
Okay, see you guys. Bye-bye. And stay safe. Bye-bye.
Bye.